Welcome to Amplifyre's interview series. My name is Christian, and joining me today is the founder and chief business development officer at Amsterdam Standard, Leopold. Leopold, welcome to the series. How are you today?
Thanks, Christian. Yeah, I'm good. I'm all good. I'm excited. Thanks for having me here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm pretty excited too, because we're talking about the benefits, the challenges, and best practices of team augmentation in software development. So maybe to get us started, Leopold, what are the key benefits that team augmentation services, offer to product companies in terms of talent, access, flexibility, cost reduction, and time to market acceleration?
Yeah, that's actually a big question. So let's break it down in a couple in those topics actually. So I think the key benefit here is talent access. Access to the best talent is actually crucial for the success of a startup or a scale-up. You should always aim to work with the best people. And our experience with Amsterdam Standard is mostly in and around the Netherlands, mostly actually in the larger tech space of Amsterdam, but also in Scandinavia, Berlin, Vienna. And there you see that most of the companies are in very fierce competition with the other tech companies in such cities or tech hubs actually. So here in the Netherlands, there's like huge competition from Booking.com, Adyen, MessageBird, Miro, but also Uber, and many more. So if you have your company here and if you're starting something, it's like you have to tackle like so many things, and one is just to get the best talent in your pool, and that's just extremely complicated. So it's super hard to find those people, and it's also hard, to keep them in your company. Access to those people is not something that every startup or scale-up can get, and that's why it's like very interesting to work with a team augmentation partner like us. Another one, like flexibility. This is always, sort of a hype buzzword. But you see, especially in the last 12 months, how important that is. We have like many very successful clients who were successful for the last, I would say, 6-7 years. And now for the first time, you actually see that they need to scale down a bit because of all the, crises that are there in the world, inflation, the war in Ukraine, the tech crisis that made all the valuations of the tech companies go down a lot. So that's another one. So when you work with a company like Amsterdam Standard or another team augmentation partner, you can easily just scale down your team. And same goes with when things are going great, like in the first year actually after COVID, then we've seen like a huge boost for all those companies where they were scaling up with 20-30%. And if you want to take that opportunity, it's like impossible to just look on the local market, and you really need to work with partners. And then of course cost reduction. Honestly, like 11 years ago, when you're working with team augmentation partners from Central Europe, the direct cost would be like extremely different. It would be very cheap actually. But we've seen that in the last 2-3 years, actually all the salaries in Central Europe have grown to the same levels, I would say. And if you compare that with with hubs like Berlin, Amsterdam, Copenhagen, you see that still like the direct cost, but also the total cost of employment is like 15-20% cheaper if you use a team augmentation partner. So that is still like, of course, a significant saving, but usually it's more about all the indirect cost, all the savings that you can get there. And then you're more talking about, risk. What is the risk of a mishire, or what is the risk of not scaling up fast enough, which gives your competition some advantage. There's like a lot of indirect cost actually that you should also take into account of that calculation. And also like the cost of not being able to go to the market fast enough or to accelerate fast enough. This is like it's like intangible actually how expensive that is. So if you have that opportunity, you should just take it and go for it. If you do not have enough enough options actually to grow in your local market and find people that you can hire in-house. So I think that touches most of the the most important benefits of a team augmentation partner.
And you kind of mentioned in the first question, in the answer, but maybe we can talk a little bit more about it. So, what are the major challenges faced by companies when it comes to finding the right talent in-house, and how can partnering with a reliable outsourcing agency help companies overcome these challenges?
Yeah, well, indeed, it's extremely difficult, and the most crucial thing right now that in most of the tech hubs is like already impossible is finding people. Like so many companies are fighting for the same people, especially for the same regular or senior people. I don't think that there's actually like a big challenge to find juniors. You do see that there are lots of initiatives that other people are being trained, or that's like easier to have like your first junior job after like 6 to 8 months of training. But of course, those are not the people who build successful companies yet. So you need to have like a solid team of seniors around you. So finding those people, this is the first problematic and stressful thing actually. And also this market, of course, is like highly dominated by pretty aggressive recruiters that also make it like hard to choose, because if you do want to experiment with a certain candidate, that after 1 or 2 months of working with this person, you already need to pay your recruitment fee, which is usually like 15 to 25% of the yearly income of that developer. So it's like pretty stressful decision to do that. But if you're lucky, to find a good candidate, you still need to, just be able to keep him on board. And people are extremely picky nowadays. They want to work with good software, with relevant technology. Everything should be like state of the art. Otherwise, like media or senior people will just abandon your company after a few months or a year, because they have offers from extremely attractive companies that are out there. So apart from having, like good software, good project, good quality, which I do think is like one of the most crucial aspects for developers nowadays, we do see that this is even more important than salary, being able to work in a great project. But the second thing is actually a good company culture, which is also pretty challenging after COVID, to have even a company culture, because like so many people are still working remotely, especially developers. So how do you organize that? And after that, like, what are the chances in your company that they can grow, that they can actually have a career there? Is like a possibility for them to become, I don't know, a CTO at some point, or even like a stakeholder in your company maybe. So you need to organize all those things, and still then you need to stand out of the competition. And that's just actually all deviating what you should do. When you have your startup or scale up, you should not worry about all those things, because it's already hard enough to keep your focus on the product and have your product fit, and make sure that your business is growing. I mean, it's super easy actually to spend all your time in building an awesome piece of software, an awesome product, but how to market it, how to sell it, make sure that users actually find that, start using it, and then do not cancel your subscription after a couple months. That's the real challenge. So if you have to deal with both of them, that's extremely complicated. So, as a team augmentation partner, our promise is always, you can keep your focus on your business, and we worry with all those, sourcing issues, HR issues, quality issues, replacement issues, etc. That's basically it, I would say. I mean, keeping your focus is crucial. I don't think there's one success story out there, who were actually, trying to tackle so many problems at the same time.
Let's to wrap up today's conversation, let's talk a little bit about some of the best practices for successful team augmentations that you would recommend for companies looking to optimize their outcomes.
Yeah, well, first advice is take this serious. Team augmentation is not the same thing as outsourcing or offshoring a project. We really advise our future clients to investigate the different partners out there and to actually travel to the country. So we are mostly based in Poland, for example. There are many companies in Romania, Ukraine, probably all of them are great companies, but you need to feel that cultural fit, and it has to be fun. It has to be a fun trip every time that you go there. So just explore the companies that are out there and see if you like it, if you feel the vibe there, if you like the city, if it's easy to travel. Because team augmentation is actually only like a good investment if you have a team like larger than 4, I would say. If it's smaller than that, it's maybe not worth the whole investment in setting this up. And we also honestly say that usually after like 4 to 6 months it starts paying off for you. So take it serious, go there, find the right partner, and only take this decision if your plan is to have like a team augmentation partner for at least like 3 to 5 years. Then it's like probably one of the best strategic decisions that you can take, and it will really help you to scale your company. So take your time to find the right partner and go out there, visit them. It's traveling is all possible again, so that's just a very good decision. But also make sure that your local leadership team is really ready for it. You need to have your CTO, a good product owner in place, preferably already like some first bits of the tech team or a full tech team. But without that leadership, it's not going to work, because the team out there will be demanding. They need to be managed like all day, just like your local developer. If you are, if you're not ready for that and you would like to outsource some project, just find some agency who will pick it up for you and who will also take like the whole responsibility and leadership in guiding that. Team augmentation is actually only like a good solution for companies who already have something, who know how to build software, and who want to just scale their business. The foundation should already be there, and then this is something that you could consider. And that's just like in making your decision and finding the right partner. But once you have those people somewhere, in our case, for example, in Poland, you should really treat them like your own employees, like your local employees. Visit them a lot, invite them to your office, invite them to your company party, send them a present on their birthday or around Christmas, and also make sure that they really understand the DNA of your company. What is your company about? What is your product? What are your goals? Because if they only have this like narrowed vision on the software or on the features that they're actually producing that day or that sprint, it will not enable them to make like the right decisions. And you need to make the right decisions to become super successful in the end. So give them like the broader vision and give them like a serious onboarding and invest a lot in all of that. And once you have like invested in your core team, we usually say that the first 2 or 3 people you should be really onboarded well, and they should travel a lot and you should visit them. From then it's easier to actually onboard new people to the team, so that core team of 2 or 3 people can actually onboard the next regular juniors or even seniors in the team. So then it actually starts to pay off in terms of efficiency. But that really that bonding, having a drink with them, partying with them, making sure that you really see each other as humans, as colleagues, and not just some bunch of external coders who will fix your problems. That is what makes a team successful or not. And we've seen clients who were really coming to our office like monthly. They took the whole trip from, in this case, the Netherlands to Poland. And they've become super successful already doing this for 8 years. And after some time, they scaled down their whole operations in the Netherlands because they've seen that this just worked better for them, and it was more flexible, more scalable, higher quality. So yeah, for them, it really paid off. And we've also seen examples of clients who didn't take that effort, and for them it was actually a failure after like a year because there was not this click, there was constant communication errors because they never met each other actually. So that also brings me like to communication. Communication is not something that just happens. You need to have like clear rules for communication. You need to have like a strict Scrum or other agile or some way of project management, but it should be very clear. When do we talk? How do we talk? What is the camera setup? Is the audio clear? How many times per year do we physically meet? Where do we meet? Everything should be organized. If you do that, then it works well. Bad communication never works well. Also not with your local colleague if you have an in-house developer, but especially not when you are working with a remote team, because that distance, just actually shows the problem actually much earlier, and also it makes it just much bigger. So I would say those are like the main topics. The biggest advices actually that I would give still to our clients, because we need to keep them fresh, that those things are important, especially after some time when you're like super used to each other and the cooperation is good. Sometimes then we or our clients become lazy, and you sometimes do not invest that much in traveling, for example, but you always hear back from that somehow the relationships get a little bit more troubled. So this is just crucial. Apart from that, maybe last thing, if you do not really like to work with each other, and we always call this, if there's not a win-win-win situation, so if the developer is not happy or if the client's not happy, then us as a team augmentation provider is also not happy, then you should be just very flexible and be honest and just try to fix the problem or end the cooperation. Because if this is not like a fun cooperation, no good quality software will be produced, no good products will be built. So and then if that happens with your local developer, you're probably stuck to some contract. If you're working with with a partner like us, then everything is super flexible, and you can, let's say, cancel everything within 30 days, which is also like pretty convenient, I would say.
No, with your last point on if you're not happy doing the work that you're doing, it gets translated into the work. So what's the point? So it's a lot of really interesting stuff, Leopold, but I'm sure there'll be more questions about it down the road. So if people are interested in finding out more about what you guys do at Amsterdam Standard, where can they go?
Just go to our website, amsterdamstandard.com, and go to the contact page. You can immediately book a get-to-know call with me. My calendar is there, or send me an email or find me on LinkedIn. I'm open to talk to you. Very interesting.
So go check out Amsterdam Standard. Of course, links are in the description. Leopold, I just want to say it was a pleasure to have you on today.
Thanks, Christian. Thanks for having me, and have a great sunny afternoon.